spend some time with God and kind of ask him, hey God, like, is there a theme for the year? Is there a phrase, an idea, a scripture verse, something that you want me to kind of meditate on or pursue or kind of deal with during that year? So I was in the Bahamas with my wife Ramona. We were on a baby moon. She was 7 months pregnant at the time, so it was kind of our last kind of chance to kind of get away before baby comes. And one of my favorite things in the whole world is to kind of sit out and on the beach or on kind of like a nice porched area and just stare at the ocean and just ponder. And so where our room was, we were on the second level right on the beach facing the ocean. So I'd get up every morning, have my God time there, have my laptop out with my Bible software, and was just spend time with God. And it was during that time where I was like, hey God, like, is there a specific theme this year that you want for me? And I just kind of felt him drop the word faith in my heart. Now, fast forward a few months, on Thursday, March the 12th, everything changed. Everything about church, everything about my job, everything changed. Now, right at that same time as kind of COVID hit the church, something else changed, and that was my relationship with God. You see, like, I had spent 20 years kind of cultivating a relationship with the Lord. I had favorite worship songs that I could put on and kind of to help me kind of really get into his presence. There were certain Bible passages that I would go to that kind of drew me into his presence. There was certain ways that I thought about God, certain ideas, certain patterns, certain just certain things that I just had cultivated with God over 20 years that made me feel connected with him. But then all of a sudden, and the thing is, I didn't really realize it at first, but when COVID hit, I was like so preoccupied with kind of the church and what was going on there, and we had a baby finally in April, and so I was so kind of preoccupied with those kind of things that I didn't really notice at the time that I couldn't connect with God like I had always had before. Now, one night I was, spending time with God. I was kind of pacing in my home, and this thought kind of came into my mind. And the thought was this: Joel, what if it's not that God's not speaking to you? It's just God's speaking to you in a way that you never thought he could before. Or what if he was speaking to you in a way that was just simply different than what was your normal? And that thought kind of took me back a little bit, and I was kind of like, okay, so then, God, how are you speaking to me? And so I began to like just entertain that thought, kind of lean in to that idea. And to be honest, it really freaked me out. Again, to be honest, this whole idea of God changing the way he spoke, it really freaked me out. Like, it literally felt like I had a new relationship with God. Like, it felt so kind of unfamiliar and, to be honest, a bit uncomfortable. Because again, I had cultivated this specific relationship with God, and I was comfortable with it. Like, obviously we all need to grow more and more, but I was enjoying where I was with God before he decided to change it. And then I remembered the word that he gave me at the beginning of 2020, and again, it's just such a fitting word for everything that's transpired this year. But remember, the word was faith. And once I remembered that, I just felt like the Lord was saying, Joel, I need you to trust me. I'm with you. It's me speaking to you. Just keep leaning in, and everything's gonna be okay. Just go on this adventure with me. So let me conclude by saying this. It's not like God stopped speaking to me through His Word, or speaking to me through songs, or speaking to me through certain ideas and thoughts. And so He's kind of leading me into a time or a season where I'm learning to recognize His presence on things where I would just kind of dismiss before. You know, a certain song would come on, I'm like, that song doesn't really, I don't really feel it. So I would just kind of switch. Or a certain Bible passage that I would just kind of always kind of skip over. There's certain ideas, certain dreams, certain thoughts that I would entertain that I'm like, that's not God. And I would just, thoughts that kind of didn't fit in the certain God box that I always, that I'd built over the last 20 years. And so I'm just learning how to recognize presence on different stories, different songs, different ideas, and I'm just not dismissing them right away. He's teaching me to not dismiss. And so my encouragement to you is this: if you feel like, if you're in a season or a time where you feel like God is silent, or you can't hear Him, you can't experience Him, you're finding it hard to connect, let me suggest to you that He is speaking. He just may be speaking to you in a way that you're unfamiliar. So don't dismiss your thoughts. Don't dismiss a specific song when you hear it. Don't just skip over certain, passages of Scripture, because you have no idea what God may be trying to do to draw you in to Himself in ways that He hasn't before. And again, it can be a little scary, it can be a little uncomfortable, especially if it's something that's unfamiliar to you. But I feel like I'm still walking through this and walking this out now, but there's a rejuvenation in my walk with God, in my heart with God. There's a passion that's growing inside of me that I never had before. And had I not chose to lean in to what He was doing and what He may be saying, I'd be missing it. And so just, ask yourself the question: God, are you trying to speak to me in a way that you never have before? God, are you changing the way you speak? Let's see what He says.